We are we are recording. So, Aaron, thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna just, I guess, introduce you and then turn it over and let you run it. And then if you need anything from me, just holler.
Perfect.
So cool, man. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys getting on the call today, and wanted to take advantage of this opportunity with Brig and with the downtime because of this COVID stuff, and really just kind of go over any questions that you guys might have on recruiting and some of the different aspects that coaches might be looking for right now with everything going to a digital platform. And the topic that I kind of wanted to touch on just at the beginning was really just when you're going through the process, finding the school that's the best fit for you, and how important that is, because there are so many schools through, whether it's all the NCAA options or NAIA option or JUCO, that there's so many different options in terms of being in the city or a suburb or in the farm. And being able to find the right fit, not only academically but athletically, personally, is such an important part of everything. I know for us, recruiting wise, at Roosevelt, the school I coach at is located in downtown Chicago. We have a grand total of 3 buildings for our campus. One of them is 31 stories tall. One of them is over 100 years old. It was one of the first buildings built after the Chicago fire. So it's, we have a lot of unique factors going on with our university, but that university is not for everybody. And that's kind of, when we start our recruiting process, that's one of the biggest things we talk about, is understanding what Roosevelt is and how it fits in, and how we are located downtown, and how, some of your transportation is going to be by train or by city bus. And, there's people who are used to driving cars. You're not really going to have a car down on campus for probably your entire time that you're at school. And, things like that really impact the decision making. And that's before we even start talking about the school itself, or about the program, or anything else that's involved. And just finding that school that makes you happy, because you are making an investment for the rest of your life. And the number of people who go on and play in the pro leagues, or have the options to play international, is so small in the grand scheme of things, that finding that fit for a school that's going to provide you the opportunity to become leaders and young adults in the real world is probably the biggest thing. And, one of the things that we talk about at Roosevelt on a daily basis is really how we're preparing our athletes for life after college. A lot of the things we do are about time management, being on time, finding ways to manage all the other things that are going on in your life. And because that's what happens when you graduate and when you go look for a job. Those are the things that employers are looking for. And, part of that goes into just when you're picking that school, finding coaches that believe in those things. And, for us, my number one goal is to help create young, powerful, strong women that will have the opportunity to work in the job that they want when they graduate college. If they're great softball players, that's even more fun, because we, as coaches, we want to win and we want to be successful. But ultimately, when we get to see our players, graduate, get jobs, all those things, that is a great part. So I definitely encourage all of you guys to, spend a little extra time looking into things like that. Ask coaches questions about what their beliefs are in terms of practice, missing practices because of class, what their beliefs are in internships, or, for us, we're adding nursing this year. So, it's going to be an interesting change, but, I will never tell a player that they can't play for us, even if they're doing a major that's difficult. We will always find a way to make it work. And not all coaches or not all programs are able to do that. And some places will tell you nursing is a commitment. After your third year, you'll never be able to play softball again. And for us, I'd rather you be able to come to 1 game a week if that's all you're able to do, because you're only able to be an athlete once, and you're only able to be a student athlete once. So it's important for you guys to find all those opportunities that you can. So does anyone have any questions? I know some people had sent in questions, so I don't know if Brig, you wanted to handle those, or.
Yeah, what I do you have the list in front of you, or do you want me to resend that to you?
I have the list. I can definitely pull it up.
Yeah, I would just go through that. And yeah, I'd say let's just go through those to begin with.
Okay. I know like one of the questions was what kind of videos do coaches like to see if players trying to get recruited? Um, I think coaches kind of vary a little bit in terms of the sport and what they're looking for. I know, for me on the softball side, I like seeing some skills videos, but I also like seeing some in-game videos as well. And it doesn't have to be long clips, but like, I like to see a full at bat. If you're a hitter, if you're a pitcher, I like to see how you compete in an inning. I think those are very valuable pieces. Some of the things to be very careful on your videos are if you're going to put, times that you have like a running time or a pop time for if you're a catcher or something, make sure it's accurate because we will find out and we will be able to evaluate that. Unfortunately, we get, a lot of videos that say they're, 1.5 pop times or 1.6 pop times, but when I worked in the pro league, we never had a catcher who was a 1.6 pop time, and to see that from a 16-year-old is quite impressive. So if you're going to do that on your video, make sure that that information is accurate. We all own stopwatches, and we can pull those out very easy. Videos for me, sometimes the shorter the better. I really like videos that are in the 30 seconds to a minute length. Any longer than that, I honestly will skip and fast forward through pieces of it to try to find the pieces I'm looking for. So really just try to be real specific with the things you put in there. A few reps here and there are way better than watching somebody hit off the tee 25 or 30 times. The next question is, should I be concerned if I would be a day one starter as a freshman in college? I think as a coach, you should be concerned if that's not your plan. For any athlete, that should be your goal when you come into any college. It should be to play from day one. And I can't speak for other teams, but I know for me, I'm recruiting players that want to play and that can play. And if they come in and take someone's job from day one, so be it. I'm totally okay with that. Competition breeds success, in my opinion, and it might make someone else work a little bit harder. I know for us last year in this shortened season, we had 5 freshmen who started almost every game for us. So, to me, it's always if as a coach, if they're going to make you better and help you win, you're going to play the best players. What is the main thing you look for in a player is another question. I think, that's a question that's, kind of challenging because, we are all looking for, obviously great players, great athletes. This kind of ties into another question on here about positions. If you should list positions on your recruiting profile, I always think you should list positions because it helps us to kind of see, okay, yeah, that might be a fit for us. But again, coaches are always trying to find ways to win, and if you need to have 5 shortstops in the field to be able to compete, then you're going to do that. And I honestly, when I go to games and recruit in person, I'm looking more for the intangible things: how you communicate with your teammates, how you communicate with your coaches, how your parents are in the stands. I know that's something that comes up a lot, but it's very true. I will show up to a game with a player on my list and deliberately seek out their parents to see how they are, how they talk to umpires, how they talk to other parents. Because if they don't handle themselves well, their daughters or sons may not be a great fit either. And that's unfortunate, but sometimes that's a very, very factual thing. So those are some of the big pieces that we're looking for and really trying to do. But right now, one of I think the biggest challenges with softball is base running. And when I'm at a game or at a tournament, I'm watching for players that know how to run the bases, that do not need their coach over there to tell them what to do or how to do it, that are just instinctual. And I think the more that you guys can practice on your own, and the more you can maybe tell your coaches to leave you alone during the practice and let you do things, the more beneficial you'll be. Because as you get older, we want players that know how to do when they need to and not when they're told to. Next question is, how do you get college coaches to notice you? I think that kind of goes into the thing we were just talking about. I think, the more you communicate, the more you use your voice during games and practices, I think goes a long way. How you send your emails and your communication is also huge. If you're a copy and paster, in your recruiting emails, I can tell you that I delete those without even reading them, because you can really tell if it says coach, like dear coach Aaron Moore. No one really writes emails like that unless it's something that they copy and pasted through a program. So I would highly recommend, just, if you want to stick out, maybe put a unique phrase in there, something that's special about yourself. If you're going to mention our school in your email, make sure that you mention the right school with the right mascot. Make sure that you have an understanding, like, I got an email today about engineering. We don't have engineering, so that's an easy delete. So, make sure that if you want to be remembered, make sure your email stands out, that you're putting the right things in there, that you're thoughtful about the information, and be real deliberate. I also will remember the players I meet at camps and tournaments if they come over and shake my hand. That, to me, that goes a long way. If we have that interaction, I hand them a business card, and I will follow with them probably that same day. That goes a long way, and it's a comfort zone thing for a lot of people to step out of. But if you're able to do that and feel comfortable doing that, it goes a long way in the recruiting process.
Hey, Aaron, one thing
Yes.
I was going to touch on what you just said is, that's a life skill, going up to a future potential employer, looking them in the eye, shaking their hand. And then when you're out sending out, resumes and cover letters looking for a job, people that copy and paste those, they're going to get their resumes thrown away too. So that's just a great life lesson that you brought up. So.
Yeah, it's something, it's a competition so much in the recruiting world, and just in like our conference alone, we have 10 teams within the Chicagoland area. So we have to, if you want to be remembered, you have to do a little bit more, and you're going to remember that. I think it goes a long way into those life skills. And we actually do Wisdom Wednesdays, we call them, in the fall at Roosevelt, and we take a different topic every Wednesday and make it something that will be beneficial for our players down the road. Like this year we did budgeting, taught the players how to set up their own budget, how to do investments if they wanted to, those different things. We taught players how to write resumes, which it's kind of funny how many people don't know how to do that. We taught people how to write letters, because that is a lost art. But I can tell you, when we've had recruits on campus and they send me a thank you letter, I've typically offered them a scholarship, because those are the people that you want around. One question is, what would you say to an athlete trying to be recruited when they don't have a big platform of a big school, large school, big team? Honestly, we have kids from 9 or 10 different states. Some of them played on small travel programs. Some of them played on high schools with 100 kids, but they did the work, and then they put great videos together. They were great communicators, and I think that stuff goes a long way. So your platform is only limited by what you guys do and what you put into it. I think that's an important part. If you put in a little effort, you're going to get little return. The more effort you put in, no matter what size school or what team you play for, it goes a long way. Will juniors be hurt in the recruiting process by not being able to take the ACT when it's usually taken? I think that's going to be a unique thing for sure, and it's going to be a challenge. I know there's a lot of schools right now that are waiving the SAT and SAT test scores for admissions. We haven't yet at Roosevelt, and part of our packaging for academic scholarships is a factor of your GPA with your test score. So for us, it's a big piece. So, any of the class of 2021 that we're recruiting, we're kind of, if they haven't taken a test already, we're kind of in a little bit of a standstill, which is a challenge. But I do think that there's still opportunities to get recruited if you send out the information with what you have and put in there the information you do have. I think that goes a long way. If asked what position I play, is it okay to say I'm a utility player, or should I list my top 3 positions? I'm honestly, I'd rather you be honest and say that you play a lot of positions. When you come for a visit to Roosevelt, for example, we do everything we can to actually put you into a practice. And if you say that you play on your profile, if you say you pitch, I'm probably going to throw you. And if that's not one of your positions, it's probably not wise to put it on there. So you really just need to make those good choices. We've had people come out in the past that say that they catch, and then we put them back there with some of our number ones, and they haven't caught in 5 years. So that's not a position I would say that you play. So, I'd rather you say you play utility if that's what you do. Um, but if you are a true first baseman or a true second baseman, it's okay to put that as well. Um, we're gonna, like I said earlier, we're going to find the people who can play other places and that can hit. Ultimately, it comes down to pitching, defense, and scoring runs. Those are the biggest three things, and you'll find ways to do that with what you have. Is a player's height and weight crucial for recruiting? I would say that anything in terms of being an athlete is important. I would say for softball, it's not as important. You're going to see more of like the taller pitchers, go the D1 level. But we've had, when I worked in the pro league, some of the best pitchers we had were 5'5", and they did a great job and they threw super hard. So they just worked harder than other people. And, also I was fortunate to work with the woman whose jersey's behind me, Kat Osterman, who's 6'1", and she was a different breed as well. So sometimes height is an important thing. I would say being more, being mindful of your body and making sure you're in shape and you're athletic is more important. If you're short, you're short, and there's nothing you can do about it. But that's not going to impact my recruiting of you if you can play the game. What is the first aspect physically and socially do you recognize in a player? On the social side, it's their communication. How quick do players grab their phones after games is something, I notice. To me, that's something that we've actually tried to get out of at Roosevelt is, trying to understand that the game is more important than the messages we maybe have missed. And I like seeing the players who leave their phones in their bags and, are upset if we lose. They're upset about the result of that game. Physically, like I said, I just want to see players who know what they're doing, have an idea of the game itself, backing up plays, diving for balls that they're supposed to dive for, trying to take the extra base. Those are the things that stand out a lot to me. If I have a high batting average, do I need some sort of written proof, or will it be judged on what they see during the tryout? Stats can be made up and adjusted and inflated, and so you have to be really, really careful of some of those things. If you put those on your profile, you better be able to hit when you come in. Those things are going to show. If you put on there that you hit 15 home runs as a junior and then you come take BP and you don't hit one ball out, I'm going to question that stats, an accurate number. So just be mindful of that. If they're accurate and factual, put that on there. I can tell you for us at Roosevelt, when we're looking at stats and evaluating stats after games, batting average is one of the last things we look at. We're big on base percentage. We're big on slugging percentage. Walks and doubles are things that we look at because your batting average will line up with those things if you're doing all the other things right. How do you finalize what girls you want to recruit? For me, that's a huge piece in going back to, the right fit. And, we're going to sometimes lose players during the recruiting process that the fit's not right. Unfortunately, we lose some players even after their first year that realize that, maybe living in the city is not for them. That's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. So for me, I spend a lot of time on the phone, a lot of time, even doing FaceTime calls about, getting to know the players, getting to know their families, making sure that, they understand that what we're trying to create is a family. And if they don't want to be a part of that, it kind of changes who I recruit. The players who really seem like they're invested and want to buy in, it makes it so much easier because we spend more time with you as coaches and athletes than anyone else on campus. And, for me, I want to be able to spend time with, the people that I love and the people that we want to be around and get along with. So it's super important that, the players we recruit value the same things. The last question on there is, should I play more than one position? Am I at a disadvantage if I've only played the outfield? You're not at a disadvantage. Again, if you can hit and you can run, you can play. Outfield just may be where you end up. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Versatility is awesome. I can also tell you too, just basing it on some of our experiences at Roosevelt this year, we brought in 2 players who played second base. Neither of them played one game at second. We actually moved them to the outfield because they were better athletes and they hit the ball really well. So you have to be open to that. In college, you have to be so open to change, and you have to have you can't have any kind of fear, whether it's a fear of success, a fear of failure. I think those are two big things. And you have to be okay with, when the coach says, hey, I want you to go try center today. We graduated 2 catchers this year, have another one who's transferring because of a program she's in. And so I asked our starting shortstop if she'd be interested in playing, learning how to catch. And she said, yes. And, would I punish her for saying no? No. But is it awesome that she said yes and going to give it a shot for us? Yeah. I mean, those are the kind of players you want. Does anyone have any other questions? I don't know if you can type them in the chat or.
I just unmuted everybody. So if you guys have questions, just fire them out, and then if not, we can wrap this up.
So I tried to do some research on it, but I couldn't find much. What kind of division are you guys?
In Roosevelt, we're NAIA.
And then one more question that I had personally. What if you're in a special situation where your stats are kind of messed with? Because I was on a team for about 10 years, and my stats kind of got messed with because I hate to say this because I don't want to make it sound like I talk bad about coaches. I like to respect coaches, but this coach was the president of the association in general in my town, but he was also my coach, and he drank a lot, and he had a lot of politics with parents. One of the parents was my parents, and he never put my stats online, and then the last 4 years, he really didn't play me much, but I was hitting home runs when I did play, and I was trying my hardest, but none of my stats were online. What kind of things do you do for students with special situations like that in the case that they can't give you stats?
I think, for me, I take every situation in its own unique way. And so the more that we can communicate and learn about each other, I think is super helpful. Stats again are not the true defining factor in what you're looking for or who you are as a player. So I wouldn't let that define who you are or what you're looking for. You have to be, open and honest with people you talk to.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. Any other questions?
What would you say would be the best thing to be doing during this coronavirus break?
The best thing you can do what?
The best thing for softball players to be doing during this break, without access to a field.
There's so many things that you can do right now without a field, and we've been doing team calls with our team here and going over a lot of those things. But there's some great opportunities right now. Like Peloton right now is doing 90-day free trial of workouts. It's running, it's biking, it's doing stuff in your home. I would ways to do that kind of stuff. If you have a wall, you can do so many things, footwork and work. All you need is a wall, and you can go out and do so much. You do it in your living room. Mom and dad don't get mad about that. So I would definitely do all that stuff. I've actually got some recruiting videos this week of kids doing stuff strictly in their living room, which I think is cool. And they're finding ways to do what they can do. So don't limit yourself. If the big things, a coaching friend of mine always said, hitting is like brushing your teeth. You have to do it every day or it's even if you just go in your garage and swing the bat, go in your backyard, swing the bat. If you're able to take any kind of reps off the tee or have your mom or dad toss you something, you're able to get that work. That's a huge thing. So, I would definitely try to throw and hit every.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other ones?
Okay. Well, Aaron, hey, Thank you very much. And ladies, thank you for taking the time to, hopefully we can help you guys out in this time of, uncertainty. We're just trying to use America's Team as a platform where we can help you get connected with college coaches and, answer any questions you guys have. So if anything else comes up, we'll have another one next week with another college coach, and just keep showing up, and we'll be here for you.
Yeah, and if anyone does have any other questions, feel free to send them to Brig, and he can send them my way. He can pass on my email. I'm happy to reach out and connect with anybody.
Great. Well, hey guys, thanks so much, and happy Wednesday.
All right, thank you guys.